When in Houston, it is always great to stop by the Space Center Houston. These are the current astronauts that are serving on the International Space Station orbiting the Earth. Inside Space Center Houston, you can see various artifacts from space travel throughout the years. This is an Apollo command module, Gemini and Mercury command modules from early space travel. Located on Johnson Space Center are Texas Longhorns that are taken care of by local high school students. This is my family in front of the Saturn V rocket. This was the last Saturn V rocket that never made it into orbit because the Apollo program was canceled. We are going to look at the Saturn V rocket in reverse order because that was the way the tour went on this particular day that we visited. At the top, you will see that brownish area. That is the command module where the astronauts were during the launch of the rocket. The rocket launched in 3 different phases. This is the stage between phase 3 and phase 2. You can see the single engine that is located on phase 3. This was the final engine that would help get them all the way to the moon. Below that, you will see the large yellow area. That is the stage 2 rocket that was used to help get the astronauts out of the atmosphere for around the Earth. You can see all of the engines that were used during the second phase there, and the docking rings that are located in between that were used to connect each of the different phases. This is the first phase of the Apollo Saturn V rocket that was used to launch the astronauts off of the Earth. You can see the giant rocket engines. There's 5 of them in total that are located at the very bottom, and those were ones that were used to get the rocket off of the ground and into the air. The first phase would take the astronauts about 42 miles above the Earth. You can see another set of the engines, and my wife standing there underneath them. They are absolutely massive. Here's another view of the engines looking straight up at them. It's unbelievable how big they are. Here is a single picture of one of the engines that was located outside at Rocket Park. This is Little Joe 2, which was a rocket used to test some of the systems that were going to be used for the Apollo missions. Coming up is the Orion building, located in building number 17 at Johnson Space Center. This is where all of the current missions for Orion are taking place. Building 45 is where they locate a lot of the documents and artifacts from the Apollo missions. Coming up is the large vacuum chamber where they use liquid nitrogen to test space equipment in extreme conditions, very cold conditions, so they can make sure that they are able to withstand the temperatures in space.
Inside Chapia, 4 volunteers are living and working for over a year in a simulated Martian environment, where researchers throw all kinds of unexpected challenges and problems their way. This is a great testing site for future Mars missions, which also allows us to study human health, performance, and teamwork.
This is the exterior of the astronaut training facility, also known as the Giant Space Toy Box. We will be going inside next. Inside the astronaut training facility, there is a complete mock-up of the International Space Station, which is orbiting the Earth at all times. This is a mock-up of the Soyuz Russian space launch system that was used to take astronauts into space after the shuttle program was discontinued in 2011. Here is a larger view of the International Space Station mock-up. There is a Boeing Starliner set up there, which is one of the other capsules that's looking at being used for future space flight. This is the Orion capsule that is going to be used to take astronauts back to the moon. This is one of the rovers that they have in place for future space exploration on the moon and eventually Mars. This is the exterior of the Mission Control Center. We got a chance to go to the original Apollo Mission Control, which is a very unique experience. It is a National Historic Landmark that has been preserved and restored to its original condition from back in the 1960s and 1970s when the Apollo missions first landed humans on the moon.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You can see that the computers inside of the original Mission Control are very old and do not look anything like computers that we have today. In fact, our cell phones have more computing power than this entire room put together. It's amazing how technology has changed over the years. One of the last things that we got to do at Space Center Houston was watch a weather balloon get inflated live on stage. It was a really unique experience. This was a smaller weather balloon that is used for smaller instrument testing, not a full-size weather balloon. Outside at Space Center, they have an original Falcon 9 SpaceX rocket. This was launched into space and landed back on a launch pad in the ocean, and it could be reused again as another launch if needed. Also located at Space Center Houston is the Boeing 747 that was used to carry the space shuttles when they landed in California. They were used to reposition them back to Florida for launching. The shuttle located on top of the Boeing 747 is a replica of the space shuttle. It is not an original, but it was used for training purposes. Inside, you can see what a space toilet looks like. This is the Canadarm that was used as a robotic arm to help control payloads that were taken from the space shuttle and help to build the International Space Station that is still currently orbiting the Earth. You can see a visual of it there. Inside the plane, they have a demonstration of how the shuttle was set up on top of the plane for transportation and all of the information about how the plane was used for testing for the Space Shuttle program. I hope you enjoyed our visit to Space Center Houston and the Johnson Space Center today.